Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome in once again to the HyperX D2L Season 4. Western Division play rolls on today with Evil Geniuses taking on Virtus Pro. Now, VP's been in action twice in a row already, yesterday and the day before. Unfortunately, the struggles of playing with the four-man squad lacking that cohesiveness has begun to show for them. They lost Solo. Solo was, for lack of a better way to say it, kicked out of the team. And since they've been playing with a revolving carousel of stand-in players, and because of that, they're 0-2, having not won a single game. Evil Geniuses, though, they're ready to make their D2L debut. They're fresh home, a little bit jet-lagged, but looking forward to this match. Was talking to Fear before. And, yeah, they're still struggling a little bit from the travel, but ready to get Western Dota underway here in the D2L. Taking a look at how these teams stack up lineup-wise. Evil Geniuses, well, they've been remade, for lack of a better way to put it. Fear, of course, the core of this team. Jo was with EG last year. He remains. He's in the hard carry position now. MSS, Mojo Stormstout, a guy who lacked a professional team last year, but he kind of made his name as a stand-in, for lack of a better way to put it. I mean, he bounced around, filled in for teams when they needed him, or whenever they had a slot that he could fill, and really impressed a lot of people, myself included. We saw him a lot in D2L Season 3, and he really had some standout performances, so he's in mid. Fear, of course, the leader and captain. He's a support jungle, that 4-role. Universe transitioned back to EG. He left last year, was with Dignitas, now back with EG. He's in the off lane, and of course, Fogged, the hard support, another pickup from Dignitas following the conclusion of the International 2013. They've yet to have a series under their belt, so looking to get things started with the win here today. Virtus Pro, as mentioned, they come in kind of struggling. They've dropped 2 in a row. In fact, I want to say that across all tournaments, they're on something like a half a dozen series lose streak. And of course, having lost Solo, having to play with just 4, and of course pick up any stand-in anytime they can, that certainly complicates things. They're led by NS in the support position. God, of course, a phenomenal mid player who has had the pleasure of bouncing around and playing all over the planet in the last year. Light of Heaven, the off-lane player, he's actually been playing carry for Virtus Pro as they look to fill out that 5th slot on their team. And Light of Heaven knows how to farm, but you can just tell it's not in his comfort zone. It's not really in his wheelhouse. He does well enough, but unfortunately, Virtus Pro just struggling so much to find any sort of an identity with only a core 4. Then, of course, Arzart, the hard support, also known as Smile. I'm your host there in AC Chambers. I'll be joined, as always, by Ben Merlini Wu. Game 1 of our first best of 3 of the day coming up next here on the HyperX D2L. Evil Geniuses versus Virtus Pro. Stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're live. The draft already underway for Game 1 of our first best of 3 of the day, the front end of our doubleheader. And, yeah, we got doubleheaders basically from now until Thanksgiving, the next 2 weeks. I want to say it's something like 12 days now, including today. At least 2 best of 3s in our Western Division series every single day, 7 days a week, and sometimes a triple header today, leading off EG versus VP. I'm your host, Aaron A.C. Chambers, once again joined by Ben Merlini Wu. And I'll tell you what, man, me, you, and Conrad, I hope we all got some rest. I know I absolutely slept my butt off. We did 10 best of threes in 36 hours and feeling nice and fresh and crisp now for this series.
Yep, it was so much Dota. I don't think I've ever cast that much, but still, a lot of fun.
No, it was an absolute blast. And looking forward to this series. This is the first time since EG was remade that I've actually gotten a chance to cast them. Of course, like anyone else, I've had a chance to watch them. And you know, they're a team that it's hard to get a gauge on the eyeball test with them. Sometimes they look phenomenal. Sometimes they look a little unstable, to be honest. And you know how good the players are. All of the players on this team, minus MSS, has experience on the stage at the International. So you know it's that caliber of a team. Just a question of them finding that identity, again, that cohesiveness, finding the ability to gel and really be confident playing together as a full unit. Taking a look at the draft so far, Nature's Prophet, Lifestealer Rubik on the side of Virtus Pro, Earthshaker, Bounty Hunter, and Slarter out for EG. And, you know, you and I have had the pleasure of casting more than a few Slarters over the last few weeks. I mean, the hero has a definite set of strengths and weaknesses. And so long as you can stay away from his weaknesses, you can usually get some work done with him. You know, in the Eastern Division Series, we saw a Slarter go absolutely bonkers and finish with something like 10-2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has been hit or miss. I feel like he's being paired up versus Lifestealer in this matchup. 3 melee heroes coming out from EG. Unusual draft from them. Bounty Hunter is nice. Slardar is... I can't say nice.
Mm-hmm.
Radiant team.
Well, like I said, he's one of those heroes that he does what he does. I mean, you and I both agree, and I would say most people would. He's not a hard farmer. You know, you're not going to take a Slarter, put him in a 3 or put him in a 1 position and farm him for 20 minutes and expect him to win you the game between 20 and 30 minutes. It doesn't work that way. He's a hero you want to get up 1 or 2 core items on, maybe a set of treads, certainly a blink dagger, some mobility-based item, usually the big key pickup for him. Then put him into a lineup that wants to fight and can fight effectively between, say, the 10 and 20-minute mark. That's what you want to do with your Slarter. And when that's accomplished, he can be a beast, especially against a hero like a Lifestealer who doesn't have the best base armor to begin with. Being able to use amplified damage on him is going to make him a very ripe target. And, of course, Slithering Crush does go through Magic Immunity, so that's one of many ways to lock him down. You factor in Track Gold from Bounty Hunter, now the Dragon Knight, a hero who can and usually does peak a little bit early, and Earthshaker, who if he's able to get up an early set of Arc Boots plus a Blink Dagger, can become a teamfight monster. You can see what EG's plan here is. They're going to come out swinging, and they want to fight as soon as they get a Shadow Blade up on that Dragon Knight, as soon as they get a mobility item up on that Slarter. The question to me is how they're going to lane it, and can this be abused in the laning phase by Virtus Pro? They're going to have Leshrac, Rubik, Lifestealer. That's a throwback to the old days of the super effective offensive tri-lane, being able to use telekinesis to set up perfect split earths. Then you have open wounds afterwards if they want to put on pressure that way. Nature's Prophet's always a +1. So EG's laning phase is going to be fairly weak, especially with the Dragon Knight most likely representing a melee mid. VP, I mean, we've seen them. They can still play Dota. I mean, they're damn good, but they have struggled. Do you think this is the kind of lineup they can and should run against EG?
Yeah, I think it's a good lineup from VP. It's just very standard, right? Nature's Prophet, not the greatest at lane control, so he can't necessarily abuse it. Not in the one-on-one aspect, but he can certainly TP to the other lanes. Evil Geniuses has a ton of stun, and they have like decent gank and team fight. So if VP manages to get behind early in the laning phase versus lineup, then they don't really have that good of like a comeback potential. Nature's Prophet, traditionally very bad versus Bounty Hunter. Being able to split push is one of Nature's Prophet's greatest strengths, and Bounty Hunter is actually very good at shutting him down. Just hunt him down if he ever tries to escape or even gets a Shadow Blade. You just hunt him down with Track, easy kill, and you can't really split push that effectively if they're on like relatively close to equal farm. Stardar, I don't really know how he's going to get farm if he's paired up versus VP's tri-lane. And VP had a decent shot at winning versus Alliance using Death Prophet, and I think it's a good play for them. And they had the late game this time instead of a farming Potom on VP.
Exactly, and I think we both can agree. Farming Potom should disappear. Potom is an awesome hero. She's phenomenal. Oh wow, Dazzle pickup. I haven't seen Dazzle in a while.
They've like just I don't know. For EG, it just seems like it's not a targeted draft at all. It's just like, hey, we have this draft before that we seem to have worked out. It doesn't seem like they counterpicked any of VP's heroes. It's just a straight, huge minus armor strategy. I also watched VP actually used Dazzle yesterday versus Sigma, and it was like with a bristleback too. So a lot of teams are experimenting with minus armor strats. We also saw Alliance run Alk plus, or was it? I forget which team it was, but they used Alk, Naga, and Shadow Fiend +1. So the minus armor strat is actually coming back too, and it's just all these old strategies are rotating back in.
That was definitely Alliance, and we saw them take a level 1 Roche as well. And, and then that Shadow Fiend also ended up being level 6 at 3 minutes in. That was one of the more absurd games we've seen so far in the D2L. And we'll run through our lineups momentarily, EG, having their jungle invaded a bit. And, you know, Virtus.pro is one of those teams you love to see do well. I mean, when it comes to how popular they are in their region of the world and how much talent. I mean, again, they're lacking that fifth to finally complete this lineup. Still have plenty of time, of course. We're just at the tail end of 2013. It's not really until spring of the spring leading up to the international when teams really begin to fear if they're going to be invited or not. So they do have time to find whatever it is they're looking for. But, you know, I enjoy seeing Virtus.pro do well just because that part of the world in Western Dota does feel a little underrepresented in a lot of ways. Empire, of course, is doing quite well now, but always nice to have a few names from the CIS region. Now, the creeps have spawned. Let's take a look at who's handling who. We're going to have Fear playing on our Earthshaker, setting up shop near the Radiant Side Ancients. No surprise there. Fogged, he'll be playing on Dazzle, with Slarter going to be farmed by Jo here in the safe lane. In mid, no surprise, going to be the Dragon Knight handled by MSS. And, of course, the Bounty Hunter played in the off lane by Universe. On the other side of the river, we've got NS playing on our left Shrek. We're going to have God setting up shop here in mid on our Death Prophet up against that Dragon Knight. Blow Your Brain, who, of course, many of us remember from the old days of VP. He's standing in this time around, farming up our Life Stealer with Light of Heaven. Going one-on-one with the Bounty as our Nature's Prophet in that safe lane. And AA got to be playing our Rubik.
Yeah, I think it's a very smart idea for VP to try lane against Jo on the Slardar. His weakness is being able to farm up. He's very strong if he can like get off to a good start, but if he's a really snowbally type of hero. Top lane, Light of Heaven versus Universe, nothing special going on there. Mid, we see Earthshaker doing the pull to the Ancients, but not too successfully.
Well, this is one of those things that we've talked about, and honestly, you've made the point probably a half dozen times, and it's such a salient point it bears repeating. Earthshaker, when you do this, you know, these kind of ancient pulls and abuse
they're looking
vision,
to go on J on bottom. Ooh.
When you see an Earthshaker do this kind of fissure pulling and so on and so forth, you are losing something out elsewhere, and you can see that down here already. Slarter only with 2 CS. Compare that to Lifestealer 6. So much offensive potential if AA is able to get a telekinesis into a split earth and follow that up with open wounds, especially with just a dazzle there to help you off. I mean, he'll have shallow grave eventually, and that'll certainly give you a chance to perhaps stay safe. But for the most part, with Earthshaker doing this, it's helping him out and helping mid out, but they're sacrificing their safe lane, and that's a really chancy play given how often we've seen Slarders just fall behind.
You see a TP.
Yep, up at top. That's going to be AA. Throws out the dust. Can he catch him? Treants are on him. Don't think he can. He lacks boots at the moment, and Universe lacking boots as well, but had enough of a head start.
That's a very strange rotation. That was absolutely unnecessary. I think that he was doing okay up top. He wasn't getting dived, and now Jo can get some like decent farm in the lane for at least a minute. And AA is going over here, but they weren't ready for this pool at all. And we've seen a lot of teams just immediately sentry ward that because it's just so obvious what a Earthshaker is going to do a lot of the time. And
AA is going to make his way back down there. I agree with you. A little bit of a greedy teleport there, and that does cost gold and time. And Slarter, as you said, is now finally getting a little bit more. You should be able to get another last hit or two, but I'm a little skeptical of what they're doing with Fear here. Earthshaker's so good at this, and like you said, this is what he's usually going to do. But you're definitely sacrificing the farm of the Slarter, and Slarter, without a lot of farm early, really has a hard time getting into his stride.
MSS doing definitely okay in mid. He actually has more CS than G.
Fogged, telekinesis on bottom. There's the Slithering Crush. Now they might be able to get the left rack. There's a split earth on the Fog. First Blood's going to end up going to EG. They trade 1 for 1. Slight advantage there, but to tell you the truth, that's a huge advantage for EG, going 1 for 1 in a lane, which had been lost pretty much unconditionally. Getting the first blood and getting that kill, the experience going to the Slaughter, big win for EG. He's now level 4.
This should not happen in a
No.
3-on-2 lane. They were doing very well zoning them out, but I don't know, maybe just a stand-in factor. VP has had a lot of stand-ins in the recent days.
Yep. It's worth mentioning. I mean, they are stand-ins,
coming in,
but it's not as if. Let's see if Fear can get a. Up here we go. Sprint ahead. Is he going to crush? They're going to wait for the rage to wear off. There's the fissure. Beautifully shot by Fear. Oh, good telekinesis from AA. He just saved Blow Your Brain for sure. He was in the midst of the wind-up for Slithering Crush. Would have been another kill, but that telekinesis interrupted it. Here comes Leshrac back up. Let's see if they want to engage off of his haste rune. Doesn't look like they do.
That was like a perfectly timed fissure from Fear,
man,
too. It stunned
gorgeous.
right at the end of Rage.
Oh, it was beautiful. And, I mean, he shot it so close, you even saw a little bit of collision glitch. Like, whenever you hit it right on the fine line between whether or not the hero is going to be on the left or right side of the fissure once it appears and presents itself on the map, you kind of see the hero model shake a little bit, and he shot that as close as he could have.
Dazzle, played by Fog, is also going for the more offensive build with 2 in Poison Touch, 1 in Shadow Wave, and none in Grave. Sprint popped by Jo, but unable to find anyone. And this is very good for EG in the laning phase. They're up in kills, and they're up in CS. Bounty Hunter has double the CS of Light of Heaven on top, and DK has about 4 or 5 more CS than G in mid, but he is they're doing pretty well in lane control. MSS and rune control. MSS got the 2-minute rune. Looks like Vampire got the 4-minute rune, but unable to make anything happen with the haste.
I tell you, Virtus Pro was in such good shape in this bottom lane. I mean, they had basically shut Slaughter down, and they had that bizarre rotation of the Rubik, freed him up to get a little bit of levels. That first blood trade really was the worst, but of course, coming in with Fear to make something happen, would have loved to have gotten that kill, even though they didn't. Even just being able to force them back, and it's the levels at this point. Slaughter's almost level 5. We can see our Lifestealer is at level 4.5. So in a lane where he should have been dominated, he's actually behind Jo. Jo will take an open wounds, but popping sprint, able to get him back. And really, Slaughter has benefited so much from that sprint change. It costing no mana, lets him spam it like that, and just to keep himself safe.
Yeah, Universe actually got a solo kill on Light of Heaven while that first blood action was going on. Fog harassing Vampire. He is very poor, not even boots yet. He's going to have to tango up.
And a little bit of a rotation here from NS and AA. Let's see. They're going to go for it. Up here, we're going to have MSS going Elder Dragon, and he will catch God. He's got Fear right behind him. Does Fear have the mana for a fissure? He does. He doesn't have the cooldown. He's about to, but whoo, dodging out the Crypt Swarm. That might have killed him if it had connected. Now the illusions are on him, but he should be able to make it back to safety. So another nice kill going the way of EG. And Virtus Pro, this is exactly what you were talking about during the draft, Merlini. They can't really afford to fall behind in this lineup, but that's exactly what's happening.
They cannot. Death Prophet's really under-leveled, actually. She's only level 5.5, almost 7 minutes in. Light of Heaven is 6.5. By comparison, and MSS is 7.5. So I don't know how G fell behind so early. I guess it's has to do with the Ancient stacks.
Fogged, going to be dove down here. There's a shallow grave to allow him to pursue. In the meantime, Jo's going to find a kill under the tower. Sprout in on Fog, so the shallow grave bought him just enough time to almost get away. To Blow Your Brain, going to chase out Jo. Jo heading into the woods, and Light of Heaven showing his face as well. Here come the treants after Jo. He's trapped, at least for the moment. Has to spin the crush. Can he bring him down fast enough? Yeah, they can. It shouldn't be a problem. The damage not really there. There's the heal to keep Jo alive. But that's one of those little plays. The fact that Fogged used Grave on himself and bought himself enough time to retreat some, that's actually why Jo got away after diving that tower. So little things being done right by Fogged, allowing Jo to benefit once again. Looks like they're ready to dive now as they've got 4 down in this bottom lane.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter is making his way down there slowly but surely, and they have a Sentry Ward already, but VP, they have to get ahead now. They have to take down towers. They have to get the kill advantage. Gods is now level 6, but he has not yet joined with his team because he's taking out a stack. I think that if he were down here, the tower would fall very, very quickly, especially without a rotation from Dragon Knight and Earthshaker. But those who are just farming mid and like Slardar and the relatively weak support in Dazzle as an anti-push is still being able to fend this push off.
Oh yeah, they did very little damage to the tower down here. They rotated 4 down here and got nothing accomplished. And the ulti being used by God to farm a stack, I mean, that's all well and good, but as of right now, Universe is level 8. He's going to be ready to start roaming around, and there are a lot of squishy heroes on the side of Virtus Pro right now, and they're going to be even squishier if he starts to roam with Jo with amplified damage.
They cannot afford to give that much track gold. They've already given 1, I believe, and on an important hero like the Death Prophet, she is a snowball hero too. Ooh, Light of Heaven on top.
Light of Heaven being pursued out, tracked out. Universe is going to get him. Shuriken toss. Can't afford to get much track gold, but they sure do. AA is going to be there to telekinesis, but he's going to pop the dust. He's going to be tracked out. Universe, I was going to say, he may just turn and engage, and he will. Fade Bolt spent the tree in. It's not going to be enough. He doesn't have enough for a Shuriken toss, though. One more auto attack will do it, and that'll be another track kill going the way of EG, and I don't even know what's going on with Virtus Pro. Their decision-making right now is absolutely horrendous, and EG is capitalizing on every poor decision.
Horrendous is the right word. They got behind an early game because they didn't contest the Ancient spawn at all. The early TP rotation from AA not doing anything, and then giving them the first blood. All 3 of these things, they may seem like small things, but when you add them all together, and then they just rotated 4 together as bottom, didn't even force out a... Oh, they did force out a glyph, but like it's still at 1100 HP. They need towers. They need them fast. They need Nature's Prophet and Death Prophet to not die and take down towers. They need the gold so badly.
Well, down at bottom, EG is looking to take a tower. Where is VP? Like, every time there looks like they have the chance to make something happen, whenever they were looking to perhaps dive bottom, they're going to rotate the top. This top tower is already pretty low, so they may end up being able to trade 1 for 1. There's going to be a TPN. Universe got some damage done. Fogged is there, and Universe going to be hit with the Shallow Grave, going right back on Light of Heaven, and he will be picked off. Another track kill goes into his pocket. Here comes Jo off of the rotation. Weave and telekinesis. He's eating a lot of damage from the exorcism spirits, but yeah,
could have gone maybe. I guess it's risky fighting into that.
They end up trading they actually didn't even trade. Their tier 1 still stands, and exorcism's going to be finishing up right about now. And the push potential of this lineup is okay with Leshrac when they don't have exorcism, but if Fear's coming up here, no, that's actually going to be MSS. He should be more than enough to thwart this. He's got Elder Dragon form and Breathe Fire. They already used the glyph. Let's see, are they going to re-engage? Here comes Fear. There's that Blink Dagger. We knew it was going to be out on the starter, and the deny. So, well-placed fissure, and EG, they lose the tower, but not quite as much gold as they might have. Otherwise, Jo now, though, a major threat with that Blink.
Earthshaker desperately trying to catch up in levels, though. He was like, when your Earthshaker level 4 can push up a tier without that much fear, it's it's not good. G about to die in mid.
Yep. There's the Blink, and this is going to get out of hand very quickly. Virtus Pro had better just group as 5, hope that the power of Blow Your Brain on the Lifestealer is enough, hope they can take a fight, because at this point, EG, with the push power they have, between even though it's just the DK, but just having Fog there to keep this team up and fighting, having the track gold from Universe, they're going to be able to just start 5-manning, and I don't know that Virtus Pro could do anything to stop it.
I don't think so either. Like, Blow Your Brain on Lifestealer is farmed and all, but if he gets Blink stunned by Jo, then he's just going to straight up die. Yep. I mean, and he has to pop his rage very, very early. If he gets fissured, boom, Dragon Knight stun. If he just doesn't rage far enough, MSS pops in range form, Dragon Tail stun, and Jo with the Slaughter R2, and they have Weave to prevent a lot of his damage and make him very, very vulnerable even during rage. Combine that with amplified damage, and he doesn't have any armor yet, no armlet, so he just has 6 armor.
Hell, even Fear on the Earthshaker, that usually in a situation like this, the way they laned it,
they need to defend this tower bottom.
Yep. And looks like Fear's going to head that way. Yep, here comes a TP, and Fear's coming in behind. There's Slaughter blinking in. Light of Heaven in trouble. There's a fissure. Actually didn't catch Blow Your Brain. Not quite as well shot as he would have liked. However, Jo should be able to pursue this out. We've thrown down that cop blow. And the blink up, done, not even needing it. The Enchant Totem, one nice auto attack, enough to make another track kill a reality. Arzar going to be tracked out. Looks like, oh, nice fissure. And they're going to get Arzar. That's going to be another track kill following the Dragon Tail. And that's going to be 4. This game's over.
Yeah.
It really is.
It really is. And they, like, Fear has been having some really nice fissures. He had two hero fissures right there. I also don't know why Blow Your Brain didn't have a TP scroll. As soon as Solar jumps on the Nature's Prophet, Rage TP out. No one else can stop you if Solar is locked onto a different target. Universe just waiting on G in middle.
Yep, and here comes Fear. See you, G.
No, he doesn't have mana.
Oh, actually, he doesn't. So I'm not sure what the plan was. I thought it was good. Looks like he's just going to come in, throw out some auto attacks. The Exorcism Spirits, of course, heal.
Track move speed.
The Exorcism Spirits, of course, heal whenever they rejoin the DP, the Crobulus. But at any rate, it's 12-2, and I hesitate to even want to look at the goal graph. Yeah, coming up on 10 grand in favor of Evil Geniuses. The experience is right in that range, too. And this just is kind of what we knew would happen if EG got far ahead early on and not really going VP's way, to put it lightly.
Mm-hmm. They aren't able to group up. They can't split push at all. Bounty Hunter just picking them off left and right. Universe's Bounty Hunter has been really good this game. He definitely knows the limits of this hero. He like tower dove Nature's Prophet up top. He got that kill on Rubik when he TP'd in and got dusted. He like got that one hit on Nature's Prophet over here when he got Grave Tube before turning around and going home. So Universe has been playing with fire and hasn't even died yet.
Yep. And we see a little bit of spreading out now from EG. This, I guess, just trying to farm up some base items. Hell, they've even got Fog now with a Medallion. So you want to talk about a lot of minus armor. Amplified damage, Medallion. And, yeah, this could get very, very ugly for pretty much anyone, even the Lifestealer. I mean, his base armor isn't phenomenal to begin with. He has survivability in other ways, of course. But if he's caught out, hit with Amp, hit with the Medallion, he will have no chance. And Roshan, I fear for you, buddy. That much minus armor, you are not going to last long in a 4-on-1.
They have pretty nice wards set up too on the side of EG. They have this one that I believe blocks a spawn and is very unlikely to get dewarded. They can't afford a gem right now, and even if they had, they could just 5-man or just blink stun on Stardar and catch him completely by surprise and take the gem out. So VP just kind of at a loss as to what to do right now. They're just going to let their T1 tower on top fall, and Roshan will be soon to follow. And VP, what can they really do? Can they group up as 5 and push? I don't think so.
Yep. Honestly, outside of Death Prophet hitting like a 4 or 5-man silence, I really don't know that they even have the potential to stop this. EG honestly can just push straight through this lane, and that looks to be what they're going to do. They're going to try to. Oh, never mind.
The tower was way too low. It was at like 34 HP, and they don't have a glyph up. So whoever was down there last should have got a deny, giving VP a little bit of gold there, but it will not stop this massive gold difference to keep going in EG's favor. We're talking about 10,000 still. I guess it's not. It was like 10,000 2 minutes ago. So.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, the problem is their lineup with the Lifestealer just, they've got him more or less hard countered. He will have an armlet up soon, so they're going to have a little bit of hope. But the big problem is EG can now just starve out this team. They've taken down every tower but one, and that's the bottom tier 2. Their offensive potential's through the roof, and JO's going to have a BKB soon. He's 200 gold off of his Mithril Hammer following the Ogre Club, and so obviously about 1,500 gold out. And Prophet just now at 16 minutes got his Midas. That's what a struggle it's been. A Nature's Prophet who has largely been left alone while it's been the rest of the map that's been under the most pressure. 16 and a half minutes till he gets his Midas up.
But don't ever count out EG, the king of throws.
Yeah, exactly. Vlad's is actually up on Universe as well. So Drums, Vlad's, I mean, all of the mid-game items they need to shut the door pretty much done at this point. And, Virtus Pro, you look at this lineup and if they just get the perfect engagement, they can win. I mean, there's a Ghost Scepter up on God, so he's going to be able to guarantee himself a little bit of survivability. But I just don't know. I think EG's going to be able to take a free Roshan soon, and I really don't know how VP could challenge it if they just walked into the pit right now.
Yeah, Ghost Scepter's nice and all, but it's not going to save you for that long. The amount of chains done from EG, especially with Earthshaker just 700 gold away from his blink, is it's very difficult to cope with. They have a Sentry Ward up here. We'll not see the Observer Ward yet because no hero can even venture up that far. They're desperately trying to get back in the game by farming, but EG is going to keep out that pressure. They're going to take this tower out. If they don't defend, they just take out Roshan, and then it's really bad for VP. Lifestealer, he's farmed, but he can't do anything on his own. He can't really do anything versus this lineup.
And MSS showing off his level 2 Elder Dragon form. He and EG ready to clear the last outer tier tower remaining for Virtus Pro just as we cross 18 minutes now. Map control completely gone, and look at the warding from EG. I mean, their warding has vision of everywhere. Nowhere is going to feel safe, and here we go. And just look at this. Medallion, amplified damage. Look how quick this Roshan's going to drop. Jo just about could have soloed this.
Minus 14 armor. I really like the build on Bounty Hunter where you just go mass auras and help your team drums and Vlads. This lets Jo just skip it and go for more important items, especially since Slaughter's not good at farming. If he farms his drums, then it's going to delay his BKB by quite a significant amount of time. And it's not like a Lifestealer who can just power farm the jungle. Slaughter has a very difficult and notoriously difficult time at doing that.
That BKB absolutely essential. And I think, I was going to say, I think it's on the way to him. Universe is up in the jungle now. He may find a solo kill if he spots Light of Heaven. Light of Heaven with just a Bassi for survivability. Doesn't have a Shadow Blade. Looks like he's going to avoid the wrath of Universe, though. But Aegis up. I expect we'll see a 5-man and a attempted crack at the tier 3, especially now that the BKB is complete as well. And hell, Fear says, nope, we're good. We've got a mechanism up. I don't even need a Blink Dagger.
Trying to run off together. They don't have any dust on them, though. They only have 1 sentry on AA. He is ported. There's a gem.
Might get him a little bit of vision, but with Fear skipping the blink, I mean, Fear's actually fairly tanky. He built a couple of bracers before getting up the mechanism, so sitting at 1200 HP, should have not much of a problem waddling in, and even if he does, Fog will be able to throw Shallow Grave on him.
So just waiting for EG to make a move. They have pretty much everything that they need. Oh, Fear actually went for a mech instead of a Blink Dagger. Guess he doesn't need it with JO's Blink. JO has his BKB, he has Aegis. Fog, that's his Urn. MSS, I guess he's the only one that's really close to a big item in his AC, but they don't really have to wait.
No. And they're not gonna. JO popping Sprint, looking for a way to crack up. I'm sure we'll see the creep wave be the demarcation point for them to rush up. Nope, actually they're gonna kind of hover around.
They need vision of someone.
Yep. Universe pulling all the way back, and so is Fear. Yeah,
look how scared VP is. They have to drop in Zero right outside our T3 just for the extra vision in nighttime so they can make this base defend.
Yep. Shaker going to head back south, and yeah, looks like they're gonna split up a little bit longer. Slaughter still with a fair amount of time on the Aegis. About 4 minutes, give or take.
VP needs to find farm somewhere. They have to prevent EG from picking them off. So a Bounty Hunter looking for Nature's Prophet right now. Universe wasting a little bit of time, but he's been doing a fine job. But he hasn't got any kills since the last time I talked about him. Still 4-0-4. So VP just managing to get some sort of farm. Their 5-man with Gem, though, likely to be starved out soon, especially with this Aegis. They don't really want to pick a fight right now. They just want to just farm up. And I mean, the 5-man taking on Ancient Stack 20 minutes in is nice and all, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair evaluation. Net worth, top 3 on the board, all belonging to EG, and not just kind of belonging. You're talking 10,000 net worth, give or take, for JO as well as MSS, and hell, even Universe sitting at 8,300 gold. And as you said, all that gold has gone into team items, not individual items. Now maybe getting a Desolator as he picks up his Mithril Hammer.
It's awesome for the team, man. Get that minus armor, that right-click damage from Dazzle.
Right-click from Dazzle, that's right. Think of it, if I ever open a bar, that's what I'll call it, Dazzle's right-click. EG once again moving down mid. And Virtus Pro, as you said, I mean, they just have to play so defensive. God, it's quite a ways away. We will have a quick pause. And just a reminder, guys, this is game 1 of our first best of 3, EG versus VP. 12-2 is the current score, and EG running away with this one very early on. Virtus Pro in action twice already here in the West, and they're in real danger, falling behind 0-3 if they end up losing this game and can't get it back together in time to push a Game 2 win. We do have a second series on the way today, so make sure you settle in, pop open a beer, if you packed them, that, if you smoke them, if you got them, and every other tired cliche meant to indicate that you should, keep watching. But, I mean, we've had a chance now, Merlini, to see Virtus Pro play 3 times, and to be honest, they've looked the same every time. Disjointed, not really on the same page, and part of that is, of course, the fact that they're playing with stand-ins. But let's say you were the coach for Virtus Pro, and you've seen the problems they've had across the last 2 days and on into today. What piece of advice would you give the VP? Like, what do you see as the biggest problem they need to shore up to get back to tournament form?
I think just consistency. You say that they looked really weak in all the games. I think they looked weak in all the games except for one, the one where they played versus Alliance, and they made them they really had just had to ride Admiral Druid to victory. And that's not where you want to be when you're Alliance versus, I guess people consider VP like a second class team. But I mean, they have what it takes. They just need to find like someone like Cliff, I guess. Cliff was pretty good on the clockwork. He really was a tempo controller in the mid game, and that's really something that they lack, especially when they pick something like Death Prophet. They don't really have anyone like doing anything around the map, right? Yeah. Like AA is trying to make something happen with like a level 3 Rubik. We have Gaz just trying to farm, or G just trying to farm him in mid, but he can't really do much because of the ancient pool. So they just need someone who's really good at securing the early game.
Almost got blow. He does get tracked and amped. And that was so close. Jo blinked right on his heels. They're going to go ahead and rush it down now. Let's see, what did Rubik get? Managing to get amp damage. That's about as good a spell as he could have gotten there. And nice dodge on the Crypt Swarm. A lot of movement speed bonuses, of course. Jo with sprint and the track movement on EG. They get a lot of damage done there to the tower, bringing it down to about a quarter health. And waiting on, there's a Sprout on the Fear. Let's see if they're going to do anything with it. Gets off the Fissure. Now they're going to come back in. There's the crush on the God. God popping the Ghost Scepter. Going to try to run away. We see NS in trouble. We're going to see the Exorcism go off. Weave goes off. And an Echo Slam doing solid damage. Fear's already used the mechanism. They're eating a lot of magic out of those, a lot of magic damage from NS. But with the Leshrac dropping, they're going to have the Aegis popped. And that might just about be that. They got enough done that even though they lost their DK and their bounty, they're certainly going to get the tier 3, and Fogged actually managing to get a double kill when all's said and done, and they're going to call the GG. So a valiant last defense, but in the end, too little, too late. EG runs away with game 1, man.
Yeah, that was actually somewhat of a sloppy initiate. Fear had a really nice double fissure, and then Jo didn't actually follow it up. He only got one stun, and Ghost Scepter was popped by the Death Prophet before. Yep. I mean, that was a sloppy initiate, but they still just absolutely rolled them with their added advantage with Aegis. That was just ugly. VP, they need some early game control. They need better play out of their supports. They can't lose in a one-on-one situation. Nature's Prophet versus Bounty Hunter either. Light of Heaven can't give up that early death, and they also need to be better prepared for the Ancient Pool too. So maybe just ban out Earthshaker if they can't handle the pulling. Other than that, VP just get more early game, get some kills. They had like 2 kills in 20 minutes.
Yep. Well, seeing Blow Your Brain stand in for them, even though obviously they didn't look too good this game. Blow, a player that we have a lot of experience with here at the D2L, and he can be a standout carry. And, like you said, Cliff did really well for them the other day, but that was forcing Light of Heaven into the carry position where I really don't think he looked comfortable at any stage over the last 3 days. Seeing Blow Your Brain come in for VP, I really hope he's a guy who ends up filling that slot. He's a very talented player, very nice guy as well. And I think that might be what Virtus Pro really needs to get back on track. And what we're seeing, I mean, you don't want to overblow it. It is what it is. They're just the team that just doesn't feel like they're really moving with any kind of sense of purpose. We saw it a little bit, as you mentioned, in a game against Alliance where they looked pretty good. But if they can just find a core 5 and get a few weeks, few months of practice on them, I think this team's going to bounce back. And certainly they're going to hope to bounce back a little bit earlier, as they're now 1 loss away from falling to 0-3 very early on in the D2L standings, which is not a place you want to be whenever you only have 7 matches in a single round-robin format to try and make your mark and qualify your way into our postseason playoffs. 17-4, the final kill score, 23 minutes, 9 seconds. All the time it took for EG to end this one with an exclamation point. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. The voice on the other end of the line, that's Ben Merlini-Wu, giving you all the insight and analysis. You can find our Twitter addresses right there. If you want to check us out, I'm at AC. He's at Merlini Dota. We're going to jump right into our second game and our first best of 3 of the day. Don't forget that following this, we have a second best of 3 up as well. We'll be right back here on the HyperX D2L. Stick with us.